What's up, guys? We are back with another Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figuarts review, but we're taking a look at something, again, that's a little bit outside of the norm. So I not too long ago took a look at the Battle on Titan Doctor Strange, but we're back with some Marvel stuff today with the Avengers Assemble version of Captain America. So this is part of that kind of push to get more Avengers Figuarts out there. We've got Cap, there's a Thor, an Iron Man, and a few others that are coming as well. And we're taking a look at Captain America today. So we've got him here in a pretty snazzy package. It very much is themed across some of these figures. So you've got a shot of Cap there in the corner. You've got the figure there in the window, kind of obscured by the shield. And you've got the Avengers A down there on the side. Wraps around to some product shots on both sides. And then the back of the box, in typical Figuarts fashion, has a handful of shots of the figure in action, along with a bunch of the stuff that he comes with. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here we go. Out of the package are Figuarts Avengers Assemble version of Captain America. You know, something that I don't really get into too much, of course, MCU stuff. But after that Doctor Strange that I reviewed not too long ago, of course my interest was, you know, a little bit piqued at the very least, because when you get one, you kind of want to see what the rest of them offer. And Captain America seems like the obvious choice to sort of start with when I take a look at this latest batch from Bandai. So let's get started, see what this guy can do, see how he moves around. He's very familiar when it comes to articulation. I don't really see anything that's too crazy here, but there is one odd thing about this guy when it comes to moving him around. So we've got a head that can look up a decent bit, not too much. He looks down really good though. The head and the neck are of course independent from each other, so they move separately. You've got tilt really, really good side to side, and then full rotation. The arms go out at the shoulders, and my arm right here, you're seeing it right now, is super, super tight. So I'm kind of getting worried about it. We've got the shoulder that can drop out a little bit. It's also a drop down joint, so he can move it down slightly. You do have a butterfly here, and we'll just move to the back so you can see you've got a little bit of butterfly, but not a lot. And it's kind of weird. So his arms go out. They, of course, will rotate. That noise is not doing it for me right now. It's just so tight on that particular shoulder. Everything else is fine. But he does not have anything in terms of like a real swivel on his arm. So you can sort of shimmy the shoulder like at the joint here, but that's not really a swivel. It moves a little bit. And then you've got double jointed elbows, and you can sort of shimmy it in there as well, but that's only because the joint isn't like locked in place. So there's a little bit of clearance now, but it's not a true rotating joint. There's no bicep swivel. There is no forearm swivel either. You do have wrist rotation and the ball hinge, but he is oddly locked down when it comes to anything relating to sort of twisting or moving his arms across his chest. So it kind of limits the butterfly joint effect here because, well, he can't really do a whole lot. It's an odd choice. I'm not really sure I follow why that happened. We've got our diaphragm cut, so he goes backwards, forwards a little bit, tilt side to side, and you can rotate slightly. You get more rotation in conjunction with the waist, so you can get him to sort of, move forward if you want to do a walking or running pose. And then he goes backwards even more after the fact, once you get him all the way extended. Forward, not as much, and then you can tilt him even further if you use that waist as well. So pretty standard stuff there. The legs are drop downs, as usual. You can kick them out about that far. It's not too far. It's certainly not the splits. You've got kick forward all the way, kick backwards, but of course you've got that going on now. And then you've got rotation at the thigh, double jointed knees, but they only go back about that far. No boot cut, but you do have the ball pegs at the ankles, so you can rotate side to side, and then you can hinge forward and backward just slightly, but there's not much rocker down there. And then you do have some toe articulation. So he's decently articulated. There's not anything that's like truly missing here except for the arms. It's really weird. I don't understand the choice behind that, because you can swivel him a little bit, but it's not really a swivel. It's mostly just some play at the shoulders and at those elbows. They aren't really doing that swiveling work that you would expect to find at a swiveling elbow or a forearm or a bicep. So he's really missing a bicep cut for me. I feel like that would have made him a little bit easier to pose. And then, of course, I've got some tightness on his right side, well, his left really, but your right. Otherwise, though, pretty normal As far as performance goes, I think it's kind of exactly what I expected to see, save for, well, those arms. Now, when it comes to the overall aesthetics, despite the fact that this early suit is not one of my favorites, and, you know, that's personal preference, really, I think they got the look down pretty good. Sculpt is really nice here, and then the colors in particular are really doing it for me. They pop, and then you've got a nice bit of sort of grit and grime all over this figure that kind of goes along with the theme. You know, it'll go along with the battle damage shield that we have in the accessories, and it just makes him easy to throw into a nasty battle scene or a diorama, and he's already got all the gunk all over him. Even on the back, I mean, he's very dirtied and just sort of dusty, so you can use him as your battle version of Cap, and then you might have a more clean-cut one that's, you know, is ready for battle. So I do like the idea behind the aesthetic here. You know, again, like I said, the sculpt I think is really well done. All of these lines that actually sort of break up the suit are fully sculpted, so they're not just paint lines on him. Some of them are, like the silver ones, but then you've got the actual folds and the seams of the suit that are fully sculpted. So I do like that. We've got, again, a lot of muted tones, so it works in conjunction with the theme here, and it's just a good looking figure. That's pretty much what it comes down to. I think he looks very nice. Again, not exactly my favorite suit, but I do think he looks really good, and that star emblem on the chest is super bright and metallic, so it shines really well, especially if you blast it with lights like I'm doing here. I do think that the head sculpt on this guy is pretty decent. You know, again, I don't have a lot of experience with MCU Figuarts, but I know that is an area of contention sometimes with folks, and I think the likeness here is pretty good. Chris Evans' head sculpt usually is not the easiest to capture that we've seen across the board. It's always kind of askew, and this one in particular, with the actual, you know, the helmet on, I think looks pretty good. It's maybe not exactly there, but I do think it's pretty good. I can certainly see him in some instances. There's probably a miss here or there because, again, the man likeness just is tough to capture, it seems, but I do think they did a pretty solid job. Again, more of that kind of dustiness on the mask, on the helmet. You've got the wings that go back with that metallic silver paint, and you do, of course, have the photoreal printing for the eyes, which is pretty good. It's clean enough, but once you really get in there, it sort of gets kind of muddled. But again, I think this head sculpt is probably my favorite of the two. Well, definitely my favorite of the two when it comes to the helmeted version. So I think we've got a pretty solid figure here, and I should also mention the belt is a removable piece, or a movable piece rather. So you've got that. You don't have to contend with it when you're moving around, and I think it looks a little nicer. It's a cleaner piece rather than it being actually attached to the figure. And again, it's a nice looking suit. Not my favorite, but I think it's represented pretty nicely here in plastic. Now, as far as accessories goes, Cap is pretty well stocked here. I'm not really sure if there's anything that I think we're missing off the top of my head. It's got a lot of stuff in the box. So to start with, let's talk about changing the figure up. So the big thing here is that we get 3 extra head sculpts, and then of course we also get an extra neck because he has some unhelmeted head sculpts. And of course, you know, he's got the hood down here, so what you do is you pop the head apart, you take the neck insert out and the neck, and then you put this one in. So you've got the hood that's down, draping across his back, you've got a flesh tone neck, and then you've got an unhelmeted head sculpt. And I think, honestly, for my money, this is a pretty solid head sculpt for the Chris Evans Cap likeness. It's not perfect, but I think it's pretty close, and I'm honestly more inclined to use this head sculpt than the helmeted one. Granted, I'm not sure how I would work that into my display personally. It's Cap, put his helmet on him, but this does look really good to me. I'm very happy with that. We do get another head sculpt, which honestly threw me for a loop as to what this was. So we get this one, and it's the same head sculpt, but it's dirty. So it goes along with the nastiness theme that we've got here. So there is some grit and some grime and some dirt and some mud all over Cap's face. So you've got that one if you need it. So it kind of fits with his dirty suit. And then we've also got this one as well, which is kind of like a gritting of the teeth, very angry and in motion, you know, like throwing a punch, throwing the shield, something like that. I think the likeness is a little lost on this one in particular compared to the other 3. But it's all right. I think it gets the point across decently enough. We do get a bunch of hands, a handful of hands, if you will, and we get a pretty solid array here. So we've got a 2-finger pointing hand, we get a singular pointing hand, we get a set of hands that have the holders for the shield. We get a set of hands that have an insert that will allow him to throw the shield. We get a set of splayed finger hands. We get a set of relaxed hands, and we get a set of gripping hands. And in particular, I want to talk about this one. So this is the hand and the insert that will actually attach to a shield. So you've got the hand, and then there's a peg on the bottom, and it pegs onto this little bracket, and then this guy will attach to a shield. So in this instance here is, we'll do it on this side, here is the battle damage shield, because we might as well show it now, and then you've got it, he can be throwing it. So as he's kind of running, in motion, whatever you want to do, you throw that, and then we've got one of our shields here as well. So speaking of, we've got our battle damage one, and it's got a nice metallic paint job all over it. There's a bunch of kind of muck and grime all over it. So again, befitting of the idea that they're going for with this particular set. I do like this quite a bit. We also get an actual grip for this as well. So in conjunction with one of these, so you put this you put this hand on and then peg it into a shield, so this holds it. This actually will wrap around his forearm to sort of secure it in place, and then you would peg it into the other slots on the back of the shield. So you've got that, and then we also, of course, get the clean shield. This one has, this one can be used for either, but you also get the unused straps that can peg into the back if you want him to hold on to it, like if he's holding it down towards his waist, or if you want him kind of like, maybe throwing it over his shoulder or something like that, it can be secured, and then he can be holding it in his hands. So this one is, of course, the same shield, but cleaner, and I really like the luster on this. I think it shines beautifully. Great sculpt. All of those lines are sculpted in there. It's not just paint. So you've got really nice metallic blue, red, and silver for, of course, our shield. And I think he comes with a pretty solid array of accessories. I like most of the head sculpts here. I like them all, but I like the unmasked head sculpts really well. He comes with a really great array of hands, and then you've got options for how you want to display the shields. So overall, I think this is a pretty solid figure. He does have a couple things about him that definitely have left me scratching my head, mostly around the arms. I don't really get what's going on with the lack of articulation when it comes to any kind of swivel there, because frankly it would help elevate his ability to just be a little more dynamic. Otherwise though, I think he looks pretty good. I like the head sculpts that he comes with. I think the likeness is pretty close on a number of these. I overall like the suit design, I like the sculpt, I like the paintwork, and I like the dirty battle damage aspect of this figure. I think it's going to work really well with other Figuarts MCU figures, of course, and then he's going to just look nice on your shelf. Even if you're just going to go for a more older style Captain America figure, this is going to look really nice on your shelf for sure. Good shelf presence, and then of course a lot of nice accessories to boot. I dig that we get 2 different shields, and all those options to display and hold the shield in particular really does it for me. So that's going to do it for this look at the SH Figuarts Avengers Assemble Captain America. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.